you could make the argument that there's only been 3 or 4 moments like this in American history to get us back onto the founder's vision. You can make the argument that this is bigger than anything that Reagan even did in the 80s. You can make that argument. Not that the political victory was bigger, but Reagan did not argue for this kind of transformation. The contrast is so different between the Democrat Party and this party. Carter, Reagan had differences. They were way more similar than they were apart. They just were. Carter was just a bad operator and a pessimist and had bad big government ideas. Reagan was an optimist, loved the country, but Reagan was not trying to go and disassemble the Leviathan. That just wasn't Reagan's mandate. In fact, Reagan wanted to close the Department of Education. It was bigger by the end of his term. It's a fact. And let's be honest, this was an attempted color revolution. And we have all the table set. The people voted for it. We ballot chased. We registered voters. We secured our elections. We won young people. We have this incredible momentum. Donald Trump is doing what he said he's going to do. He's picking all-star after all-star. Hegseth, Bobby Kennedy, Tulsi, despite all the yammering class. Oh, you can't pick Bobby, boom. You can't pick Tulsi, boom. And now we have some people standing in the way. But let me first just kind of set the table, and then I'm going to show you one of the senators who's standing in the way. Let's go to cut 14. 59% of Americans approve how Trump is handling his transition. Play cut 14.
Our latest CBS News poll shows that 59% of Americans approve of how President-elect Donald Trump is handling the presidential transition.
And now cut 16.
Our polling also finds many of the president-elect's well-known designees have more support than opposition, including Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, and Pete Hegseth.
So here we are with this all-star team. Who could be against this? Who could be against Tulsi Gabbard, for example? Former co-chair of the DNC, privacy hawk, understands the threat and the menace of the intel agencies. She intimately understands how the intel community can lie about you, leak on you, and subvert our country. Well, I could tell you one person who could potentially be against it. He's not there yet. But again, they deploy Mr. Lankford for the dirty work of the U.S. Senate. He was obviously deployed by Mr. Mitch to go do this ridiculous bipartisan border bill that became a top talking point. I don't have a lot of time, but let me understand. Let me tell you why. Mr. Lankford from Oklahoma fits all the criteria. Number one, he is immune from the voters till 2028. Number two, he's from a deep red state. And number three, for whatever reason, he's a lackey of leadership. Now, to be clear, he has not said he will vote against Tulsi Gabbard yet, but he is peddling this repulsive garbage against an American patriot, Tulsi Gabbard. Play cut 17.
Well, we'll have lots of questions. She met with Bashir Assad. We'll want to know what the purpose was and what the direction for that was. As a member of Congress, we'll want to get a chance to talk about past comments that she's made and get them into full context. So sure, there's comments that are floating out there, but we want to be able to know the rest of the story.
What exactly do you think is the rest of the story, Senator Lankford? What do you think that would be? No, the answer should be that President Trump gets the cabinet of his choosing. Allow me to put this whole that Tulsi is a Russian asset smear to bed once and for all. Hillary Clinton invented the lie about Tulsi because she was supporting Bernie. Just like Hillary Clinton invented the Russia hoax about Trump. Same playbook, same nasty woman. Now, mind you, this is not the first time that we've seen this kind of maneuvering and kind of Senate backroom dealing. By the way, buried in the same CBS polling is the fact that a majority of Americans, 51 to 49, are against sending more arms and money to Ukraine. It is deeply unpopular to continue to escalate the conflict in Ukraine, just like me, just like Tulsi. This is a once in many lifetimes opportunity that has been given to us, that you, the American people, gave to us, gave to anyone that is remotely involved in this. And we must remember that the Senate works for the people. They are not an unelected Praetorian Guard that gets to say that we know what's better. Advise and consent, do that. But do not vote against Tulsi Gabbard, which I was saying Senator Langford will do, but he's flirting with some really dangerous stuff there. That is completely baseless. So Democrats basically want to smear the majority of Americans as Russian assets. That's what they've been doing the last 7 to 8 years. Remember, there are 3 or 4 plays in D.C. that you can try to accuse people basically of sex crimes. That's Hegseth and Gates. You can call somebody a racist. They're also trying to deal with Hegseth. Or you can call them a Russian asset. Instead of getting down to policy disagreements, they call you names.